A very good evening to those who are joining us online and also those in person for our Men's Week of Prayer entitled Take My Yoke Upon You. I would like to welcome you this evening and wish you a very happy Sabbath to those who are joining us. And as Pastor, I trust that it will be a great blessing for each one of us. Pastor Andrew, thank you for your ministry this week. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. I pray that God would use you again this evening.
Good evening. Sabbath. It's give you a chance to respond. Happy Sabbath. Last evening, Carolus will be ministering to Silverleaf Church. I pray a blessing upon his message and the course of this week. Old or read that word, your value forward. So just to and what we did, and finally the last piece of the puzzle, if I can put it in those words. So we started off with our theme, which was the yoke. And I'm just going to read for us these verses again. Matthew 11, verse 28 and 29 and 30. It says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." And we looked at the context in which this verse was written. We understood that before this, John the Baptist sent his disciples to Jesus to ask, "Are you the one that we've been waiting for? Are you the Messiah?" And Jesus points them to his works. And then he goes from these works to explain how the people rejected and teased and were playing nasty to John. But he was the one that were to prepare the way. And we find the theme of the way very strong in Jesus' teachings. And then we find him, God is like. And then he will proceed to tell a parable and draw mighty lessons from these parables that even today we still gasp at the wisdom contained within them. And it's significant because most of the images that Jesus used, if not all of them, are timeless. I can tell it to my daughter and she would be able to grasp the concepts. The infinite wisdom with which Jesus took on this task of teaching his followers will forever amaze me. Now, something that we learn within, a golden thread, as I've mentioned it throughout this week, that we find within Jesus' teachings, is that God's relation to man, it's always more merciful than man's relation, because it is about responsibility. The owner comes for fruit without success. The first year, there's no fruit. The second year, there's no fruit. At the third year, the owner says, "You're wasting the space." It actually says it in this parable that you're using up the ground. Useless. And the command is given, judgment is pronounced, cut it out. Cut it out. Was the owner justified? The owner was justified, okay? Turn in your Bibles with me to Leviticus chapter 19. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 23. What was the audience that Jesus was talking to? Predominantly Jewish people. What Bible did they see can be defined as giving the person what they need, not what they deserve. It is hope that goodness. That's an ethical pronouncement. That is what Jesus says, that if you see this person in the ditch, would you not take him out? On the Sabbath, if they are hungry, would they not go into the sanctuary and eat? Die toonbrode, what is that in English? The loaves that are reserved for in the sanctuary. The showbread, is that correct? Yeah, I just know the Afrikaans. The priest, Jesus used the example of the priest working on the Sabbath. He says they're breaking the Sabbath, but they're doing a good job because they understand the goodness. They understand the golden thread. God's preferred way of working is through long suffering. Barmhartigheid in Afrikaans. Now, if you understand the word long suffering in its archaic form, it's to extend or make longer, merciful. But there's more to it. If you go to its root word as it's used here in the Greek, you will find that it actually refers to a person with a long nose. And they believed during the ancient times that the longer your nose, the more patient you are. Why? Because as you breathe in, it takes a little bit more time to breathe in than the person with a short nose. And therefore you have time to think. You have time to not react